All right, so now let's take a look at number 10. Number 10, first thing we are going to do is add the 5 plus the 2, and we get 7. Then we'll add the 7 plus the negative 10, we get negative 3. Then we add the negative 3 plus the 7, and we get 4. Then we add 4 plus negative 4, and we get 0. So we just do adding from left to right. Number 11, negative 18, or 18 plus negative 18 gives you 0. You have $18, you go in the hole, 18, and you end up with 0. Next, we're going to be combining like terms. Remember, like terms have the same variable. So I have 6a plus 8a, that's going to give me 14a. I add the 14a plus the 20a, and that gives me a nice grand total of 34a. Next, number 13, we have 12y plus negative 3y gives me 9y. 9y plus 8y gives me 17y. Number 14, we have a couple of different types of terms in here. We have x's and we also have y's. We can only combine the x's with the x's. So I circle all the x's, and 3x plus 4x would give me 7x minus 2x would give me a 5x. And then I'm left with a negative 12y plus a negative 3y, and those combine to give me a negative 15y. I cannot combine those any further because they are not like terms. Here I will do the same thing. I combine my 1xy, this is the same as saying 1xy, plus 15xy, plus a negative 10xy. That gives me a nice grand total of 6xy. I'm left with the 7 plus 43, and 7 plus 43 gives me 50. So my final answer is 6xy plus 50. So 16, the additive inverse, you just make it negative. So it's negative 3, 12, negative 5x, and 8 plus negative 3x, or you could also write 8 minus 3x because those are the same things. Next, we need to remember our multiplication rules, which say positive times positive is a positive, negative times a negative is a positive, negative times a positive is a negative, and positive times a negative is a negative. So we're going to use those rules to solve these problems. And the first one is 2 times a negative 3 gives me a negative 6, and a negative 4 times a negative 7 will then give me a positive 28. Add those together and you get 22. Here we need to do what's in parentheses first, and we're going to use PEMDAS. So 2 plus a negative 3 gives me negative 1. We are then going to multiply the negative 4 times negative 1 and get a positive 4. We do that before we do the adding. Now we can do the adding, and negative 5 plus 4 gives me a negative 1, and negative 2 times a negative 1 gives me a positive 2. The next one looks like this, and we're going to use that commutative property. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to rewrite it so all the numbers are together that in the term. So 2 times 3 times 5 times a times b, and over here I'm going to have 4 times negative 6 times a times b. And I can rewrite these because commutative property says order does not matter. Well, now I multiply these all together and I get 30ab. And over here I get a negative 24ab. These are like terms, so I can combine them and I end up with 6ab. Next on this problem, what I notice is I'm going to do what's inside parentheses first. These are like terms, so I can add them, and they add to become a negative 2y. Well, now I'm going to take these and I'm going to use that commutative property and rewrite it. So I get negative 2 times negative 2 times x times y, and here I still have plus negative 3xy. Well, that gives me negative 2 times negative 2 gives me a positive 4xy plus a negative 3xy, and when I combine those, I'm left with 1xy, or you can just write it as xy. Here's the product form. There's the additive form. So 4 times 6 is the same as adding 6 4 times. 5 times 2 is the same as adding 2 5 times. 2 times a times b is the same as adding, or a plus b is the same as adding a plus b 2 times. Here, if I take the prime factors of 102, well, I knew that 102 broke down into 2 times 5. 2 can't break down any further, so I circle it. 51, sorry, 2 times 51. 51 can break down to 3 times 17. I can't break those down any further. So the prime factors of 102 are 2 times 3 times 17. And here for negative 81, I first break it down by taking negative 1 times 81. Then I'm going to break 81 down into 9 times 9. 9 breaks down further into 3 times 3. This 9 breaks down into 3 times 3. So my final answer is negative 1 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3.